Anyone remember that era of Doom mapping when it felt like every other teenager was just modding something in MS Paint for fun?
Whoa, Zane. If you keep doing moves like that, I might let you go out with me.
Oh boy, here we go. Do you remember Redneck Rampage, the bastard stepchild of the Build Engine games? Redneck Rampage, at least from my own experience, was one of those games that felt opportunistic to the point of shovelware back in the day. It's certainly not a game remembered for how great it was. I mean, Blood and Shadow Warrior came out around that point. Duke 3D had already been pissing off people's parents for the better part of a year, and just around the corner we had Quake 2 on the way. No, Redneck Rampage is remembered for just how goddamn weird and edgy it was. It was basically like a giant shitpost. Either you thought it was hilarious, or you thought it was a bit cringe. There wasn't a lot of in-between on this one.
I'm so hungry I'd eat the ass end of a menstrual skunk.
What the hell is even that?
At the end of the day, it was more of a bargain bin at Walmart type game than a top shelf at the computer store type game. You'd find it next to those totally not licensed third-party Doom Megawatt packs they sold in big boxes. You know, the ones they sold for like $10. Man, I just unlocked a deep memory writing that. I bet those big boxes are worth way more than they should be these days. So that same type of divide when it came to the reception of Redneck Rampage is going to ultimately apply to this one as well. With Slayer's X, you're either going to love it for its weird charm or you're going to hate it for its cringe. At the end of the day, no matter what you think of it, it's still just an elaborate shitpost. Now, I stand pretty hard for the modern retro FPS movement happening right now, so I can admit I do a bit of pearl clutching and gatekeeping when I start to see oversaturation. I mean, there's a lot of interesting content coming out and equally a lot of seemingly half-baked ideas. I just hope it doesn't get too diluted. You know what I mean? Anyways, Slayer's X. You know, I've sat down to write something out for this video twice now, and once I get to the meat and potatoes of the script, I seriously just stare blankly into the abyss. I made a video about the demo of this game back when I started my channel a year ago, back when I had like 4 subscribers and 3 of them were my own accounts. It was basically just a chopped up live stream of me cringing off the face of the planet, and when Zane shared it to his like 50 fans on Twitter, it got downvoted so bad that I feel like I might have screwed me in the YouTube algorithm for perpetuity. Zane actually DM'd me on Twitter to apologize for the backlash from his fans, which was actually super cool of him, but the damage was done. Hey, some of my videos get a bunch of views, and some, well, it's like they don't even exist or something, you know? YouTube is weird, man. So, Slayer's X. I don't really know what to say about this game. Visually, it's very obvious that this is going for an intentionally grating visual experience. At certain points, it really started to remind me of Cruelty Squad, which is just another absolutely jarring visual experience. However, a lot of the game stays rooted in that build engine, real-world setting aesthetic. The trailer park level was a great example of this and was one of the more memorable levels. It was a great example of the overall vibe of this game. Good stuff. Overall, I thought the level design was generally pretty good. I'll give it an IGN 7 out of 10 for level design. That said, there was one really interesting level where you descended into the surreal as you explore the insides of a computer or something.
They're in the computer.
They're in the computer?
Yeah, they're definitely in there. I just don't know how he labeled them.
I got it.
Ultimately, I felt like this was spoiled a bit by the completely nonsensical level design. There was a serious ton of potential here, which I think might have been lost in being intentionally quirky. I don't know, it's hard to explain. At the end of the day, this game recreates, or maybe just creates, what it sets out to do. It's like the embodiment of 90s GeoCities web pages and MS Paint Doom textures. I'll keep saying it, but it's basically a giant shitpost. Whether it's a shtick or not, Zane has created the game he wanted to when he was an edgy teenager. I'm in my 30s, and I know exactly the type of person who Zane is. And you know what? I probably would have thought he was a bit cringe back in the day, but at the end of the day, I think we all were back then. Mechanically, the gameplay is great. They've taken what I believe is the Unity engine and dressed it up to resemble the Build engine. You don't necessarily get that weird 2.5D quirkiness when you're looking vertically, but for the most part it nails the feel of those games. Grabbing ammo for your shotgun, which shoots handful of glass shards, by the way, was probably one of the most unique game mechanics I've seen in a while. And anytime you smash out a glass window, shards of glass are your ammo pickups. The triple rocket launcher was pretty dope, and the Hank Blood talisman was just super satisfying to use when clearing large rooms of enemies. Plus, it also makes you fly. A minor gripe here is that some of the weapons have long cooldown animations, and the game doesn't have proper weapon queuing. Another complaint is not being able to rebind individual weapon keys. I'll always bring this up when a game doesn't have it because it's a major pet peeve of mine. That said, having movement bound to simply WASDA in the same box was pretty funny, to be honest. Speaking of funny, while some of the quirkiness of this game is probably intended to have some humor baked into it, like I keep saying, this is going to be a bit hit or miss for some people. I did find some of the more forced stuff became kind of tiresome, but some stuff really hit.
Now go to the Boise Potato Festival. This is where the Psycho's power is concentrated. You must stop them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Okay, you gotta laugh out of me. I found that the game started to lack a bit of polish near the end, and the end boss felt a little undercooked, and at one point I just straight up broke the game. I guess that's one way to collect all the secrets. You know, admittedly, I came into this wanting to not like this game. In a lot of ways, I was like that with Cruelty Squad as well. I love retro shooters, and I love onboarding new fans of the games because the success of the genre obviously leads to more cool games in the genre. An interesting example of this is people I know that generally wouldn't go anywhere near the retro shooter genre have been enjoying 40K Bolt Gun, a game which is absolutely brilliant, by the way. Now say one of those people start poking their head around to see what else is on offer, you know, like any of these incredible games, but then they find this one. It honestly just feels a bit dumbed down, at least on the surface.
Your grandparents are turds. Literally.
Listen, did I think Slayer's X was bad? No, I didn't. But this is not a game for everyone. It's obviously something that doesn't take itself seriously. However, people will either find it super charming or they'll find it cringe to the point of painful. Did the cringe feel a bit intentional and forced at times? Oh yeah, for sure. Does that even matter? Not really. Nice work, Zane. Thanks for watching.